What is going on is that the media doesn't understand the people. Unlike them, most people don't have hours to sit around every day to figure out what's going on, but they expect you to. So they report both sides and just like, you can figure it out. Even though people like this spent years still have no clue what's going on. They refuse to inform the American people, and they haven't known what party they should support. Because honestly, the media has been horrible in explaining what is actually going on. Now, with Republicans trying to overthrow America, showing that, yes, they are going to get rid of abortion and contraception, the people kind of understand what is actually going on. People can see it, no matter how much shows like this try to pretend it's not happening. The media has for decades tried to pretend that they are neutral, but what they actually did is kneecap Democrats. When one party is lying and running their states into the ground, people should truly understand what is going on, but the media just doesn't care. As long as you're watching and making them money. Watch this video.
Voters who are lukewarm on President Biden still plan to support Democratic candidates this fall, by and large. Citing Pew Research, the publisher and editor-in-chief of the Cook Political Report, Amy Walter, writes this, quote, among the 17% of voters who say they somewhat disapprove of Biden, 43% say they are planning to vote Democratic this fall, compared to 29% who say they'll vote Republican. In other words, those who are meh about Biden are voting for Democrats. This is not something we've seen before. Amy notes as well, in the last 5 midterm elections for which Pew had data, somewhat disapprovers of the sitting president have never been this supportive of his party in the upcoming election. And Amy joins us now. Amy, I'll let you flesh this out a little bit. President Biden's approval numbers have come up some, a couple of polls showing him up into the 45% range in the last couple of weeks. But this is such an interesting question. People who say, I don't have strong feelings, or I don't really love Joe Biden. But is this just a rejection of what they're seeing on the other side of the ticket?
Well, that's the question, right? And what we know normally in midterm elections is that about 90% of the people who disapprove of the sitting president vote against that president's party, against the candidate down ballot of that president's party. And those who say they think the president's doing a good job or a pretty good job vote for that president's party. But here we have, as I cited in that story from Pew, research that suggests that we've never had voters who are like, they don't deeply dislike the president, but they said they don't really like him that much, saying, for now, I would go with a Democratic candidate over a Republican. And I think we have a couple of factors here at play. One is that so many of these voters are younger. They may be Democratic leaning. They're upset with Biden for different reasons, right? Maybe that he's not progressive enough. It may be that they don't think he's fighting hard enough on certain issues. But they look at the other side and they say, I can't show up and vote for Republicans. And I think we've been seeing this pattern, Willie, for quite some time. Remember in 2016, there were that group, that small but important group of voters who said, I don't like Hillary Clinton. I don't like Donald Trump. I've got to pick one of them. And in the end, they broke disproportionately to Donald Trump. And so these conflicted voters who say, I don't know, I have two terrible choices. The big question for Democrats is, will they show up and vote at all? Because, as I said, they're younger, they're not as engaged in elections. So for Democrats, keeping those folks focused on the things that make them angry about Republicans, namely, as Sahel pointed out, abortion, but also Donald Trump.
90% of those that disapprove of the president vote the other way. This is how influential the media is, and they clearly don't understand it. Why would a unsuccessful president mean that you should vote for the other side? What part of a president's popularity should actually go into voting? How dumb can they be? Why did the American people vote for Twitler? Why did they break that way? Maybe it was because the media ignored the crimes of Trump that he openly admitted to and investigated Hillary Clinton for 18 months. Even though there were no crimes, Republicans investigated Hillary over 20 times, never found any crimes. So why did the media, believe that this time around, the Republicans were actually going to find evidence of crimes on Hillary? It's not really logical now, is it? The media failed America, and Morning Joe is just showing once again they don't know what the hell is going on.
So you mentioned abortion. A new Wall Street Journal poll finds abortion access is changing the political landscape ahead of the midterms. Democrats are now beating Republicans in the generic congressional ballot, 47% to 44%. While that is within the poll's margin of error, Republicans had a 5-point advantage over Democrats in March. So much has changed. Voters pointed to the overturning of Roe v. Wade as the single issue more likely to make them vote in November. That is ahead of 4 other issues tested, including inflation, border security, gun violence, and the FBI search of Mar-a-Lago. White suburban women, a key group moved by the abortion issue, have shifted to Democrats by a margin of 52 to 40%. Case in point, Michigan, where new polling shows a growing lead for Governor Gretchen Whitmer ahead of November's election. The Democrat has a 13-point advantage over Republican challenger Tudor Dixon. That's up 2 points from polling done in early July. The Detroit News points to the issue of abortion as a reason for Whitmer's large lead. Voters said it was the top issue motivating them to cast a ballot this November ahead of inflation, education, and the economy. Huge issues. The lead pollster told the Detroit News the election should, quote, be about Democratic President Joe Biden. And it's not. It's about abortion. Dixon has made headlines for her hardline stance on the procedure last month. She told a Detroit TV station that she opposes exceptions for rape and that rape victims could find healing through having the baby.
She also said that a 14-year-old raped by her uncle should be forced, compelled by the state to have the baby, and said that a 14-year-old being raped by her uncle was the perfect example, her words, as to why she doesn't believe in exceptions for rape or incest.
Abortion is something that people can't ignore. The media did a great job distracting the American people, pretending that the Republicans weren't going to actually turn the country around and take away abortion rights, even though that's what they said. They would say that, then lie about it, and the media would report both. But, they believed you should figure out what was going on, even though they still can't figure it out themselves. Now, how dumb is Joe Scarborough? Really? He is talking about Republicans pushing children that were raped into having children. And they are asking why people are going for the Democrats, even though they don't like the president. This is how it should be. You don't have to like a politician. You have to vote for the person who gets you the most. And Republicans ran their states in the ground. We have to send $100 billion plus to red states every year because their economies need Democrat support. They are the leeches. They are the welfare queens. And yet, the media does not tell you. Republicans have been whack job for years. Remember Aiken saying that women have a biological way to shut down children if they were raped? Yes, Republicans have always been whack jobs. Just because the media pretends the majority of Republicans aren't, they're idiots. Why would we believe anything they say? Red states are failures in comparison to blue states. Any metric across the board, life expectancy, education, healthcare, roads, you name it. Republicans' policies are awful. Pretending otherwise or saying they should have a say and we should take what they say seriously, they actually have to prove what they say should be taken seriously. After they continue to lie and manipulate and devolve the American country, no, they should never be taken seriously until they can prove it. Why is anyone voting for Republicans? It's because the media has covered up for them.
Even for 14-year-old girls. Amy, obviously the extreme position taken by many Republican candidates from Arizona to Michigan, even scaring off people who've traditionally referred to themselves as pro-life voters. It now has, and I know you do this every day, so you have to be hearing this all the time. But what I keep hearing from Republican pollsters and Democratic pollsters are, we just don't know if any of these numbers are going to be right. And they'll point to Kansas. That was like the pro-life forces were supposed to win by 2 points. They lost by like 18 or 19. So they're basically saying, we're doing the best we can do, but we have no idea who's going to come out and vote. Kansas taught us that.
That's right. And these low turnout elections, special elections, where Democrats did a lot better than they were supposed to as well. Well, what happens when we have regular turnout? You're exactly right. I talk to the same folks probably that you do. Lots of strategists out there doing the sort of shruggy emoji of, we just don't know. This is the first time in 50 years we've ever had to confront this. And to me, what's the most surprising, Joe, is that everybody sort of saw this coming, right? As soon as that decision came down in June, there were Republican candidates could have seen that this was a potential issue and sort of moderated themselves along that. They know that the issue of abortion, most voters are somewhere within the 40-yard lines. They do not want no exceptions, but they don't want abortion without any restrictions at all.
Hold on. Take in what she just said here. Republicans could have moderated their positions. This means that they could have lied about what they were going to do, like the Supreme Court justices did, and the media would not have, asked them about all their extreme positions. Well, moderate your position just so you can win elections because the media gives Republicans a pass. This is Morning Joe, MSNBC. This is supposed to be the liberal network, but they're actively saying if Republicans decided that they were just going to come out and lie to you, they were going to cover for them. They were going to pretend that they seen the light and just ignore the abortion story. When Republicans have and continue to push abortion, that is the only reason why the American people know the truth, that Republicans are planning to take away contraception, same-sex marriage, interracial marriage. This is what they're going for, because the base of the Republican Party, those that continue to vote for them, continue to vote for the whack jobs because they hate Democrats. The only wins that they get is upsetting Democrats. So why did the American people break for Donald Trump? It was because of the racist bigots in the Republican Party not caring about America and the media not informing the American people about how dangerous this narcissistic, worthless man is. He failed business after business, failed everything he said, lied continuously, pushed racist conspiracy theories about the first black president, and the media still allowed him on over and over again.
But what instead happened was so many of these primaries produced the most extreme candidates. And I think Republicans were just hoping that they could push through the economy, they ignore abortion, and the economy would drive them through. The special election in New York proved that that is not enough. So my big question is, what do Republicans do now? We've seen some of them sort of go in and scrub their websites of references to abortion, but many of them are on tape making these claims. Tudor Dixon being a prime example of this, with no exceptions whatsoever. But are we going to see Republicans now go in and start trying to protect themselves or proactively try to moderate themselves in the way we've seen Democrats try to preemptively push away attacks from Republicans about being soft on crime, about defunding the police? We've seen so many Democrats come out, try to take that off the table, but we just haven't seen Republicans do that on abortion.
So she points to that Republicans wanted to run on the economy. The fact that she can say this with a straight face is proof that Morning Joe is Republican propaganda. Republicans are horrible for the economy. Not only have they ran their states in the ground so that they're leeches on the American dream, the heartland became a bleeding, festering wound. Every time a Republican gets into office, he runs the economy into the ground. For the past 30 years, Republicans have caused recessions. The Great Recession, George W. Bush. Because Trump didn't want to deal with COVID, he ran the economy into the ground. It's only a Democratic president, both times, that fixed the economy. So, why did Republicans want to run on the economy? Because the media was willing to give them a pass and ignore the abortion, even though dozen plus states now have blanket abortion bans because of all their trigger laws. And we now see abortion for the life of the mother was always a lie. No matter how many times progressives told people that, no one would listen. And the media right now on this show is showing you once again that they will ignore all reality to support Republicans. Run on crime? Here's a little hint. Republican states have 40% more violent crime, 30% more property crime. The only reason they can run on crime is the media is willing to give them a pass. So if you like those videos, please help. The YouTube algorithm is horribly biased against, progressives. And the Republicans have massive amounts of money just to buy it off. So every time you like, every time you put a comment down below, helps us out. So like, subscribe, and if you really want to help the environment, down below is a link to a GoFundMe page where it has a brand new power generation that is 0% carbon emission and one of the cheapest productions of electricity the world has ever had. So go down, help us out.